Some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this year's Halloween special. Last year, I showed off the Gregory Horror Show, an anime miniseries specifically designed to be scary. However, what I've learned over time is that the scariest things come from places where you're not expecting them. A bright and happy kids show? What could possibly go wrong? I mean, it's not like they portray things like torture, stalkers, and the depths of one's own delusion. Today I'm going to take you to the top 25 most disturbing episodes from kids' cartoons. I'm not saying these episodes are good, nor am I saying that they're bad, because at several points on this list,
What else do you
I don't
steal?
know which category I'd put them.
No, put it back. You have yours there. Put it here.
I cannot
You want me to go and check?
that are reviewed on
Let's go and check.
Rule 2. There's
Go and check.
disturbing and disgusting. We're avoiding gore fests here, for the most part. I'm also going to try to avoid the house fancy type of episodes. Those that are mostly okay with one thing that comes batshit out of nowhere, just to scare you. Rule 3. I'm going to avoid Halloween episodes because those targets are a bit too easy. But if the episode doesn't take place specifically on a Halloween type festival, it counts. If it was a spooky-themed episode that aired near Halloween but doesn't take place during Halloween, it still counts. I know that that's an odd rule, but sometimes the line on that is kind of weird, and it makes it a lot easier on my end. But enough rules. Let's begin.
Let's tiptoe into the dark.
The Fairly Odd Parents. Remember when they were good? I mean, what is this dog shit? Beyond how terrible the plot is the fact that they seem to have forgotten this little episode. You know, the one that said Timmy was a great pet owner and the only reason his pets died was because his parents couldn't feed them when he went away to summer camp. Of course, Timmy's pet, Eddie, just might have watched the Fairly Odd Dog, or else he wouldn't have wanted so badly to kill Timmy. Yeah, our first episode on this list is about a dead pet coming back to life in order to get revenge on the person who he thought killed him, even though the owner is completely innocent. Yeah, beyond that, they made this undead gerbil look as creepy as possible with bits and chunks of flesh missing. And on top of that, we see the cartoonish and over-the-top ways that the gerbil tries killing Timmy and his entire family. Yes, a cute little gerbil tries to kill someone and his entire family. Why it ended up so low on this list is because at no point did they take the story seriously. It comes across as totally comedic, for the most part.
What happened to my human self?
Some things, my boy, are better left unsaid.
I just love the day the Ed stood still. It's really a gem of an episode. When Ed sees a monster in one of Eddie's scams, he wants to become one, and Double D decides to indulge his fantasy. He dresses Ed up as a monster, and then he truly believes that he's become the monster.
I'll be good.
Why this episode works so good on a horror level is because for the longest time, you don't see what the monster looks like. You just see that more and more people are horrified by it.
What a lovely vision you are. Please, allow me.
Professor?
In your face!
Slowly, the monster gets them one by one. It goes to great lengths to use the monster movie tropes, and it also uses clever animation tropes.
Keep them away from the building. Remember, no humans are to be harmed. Watch yourselves as well.
How about you tell them not to harm
the taxing on my mind to help unwind it. So inclined, I have a small suggestion.
You know, upgrading technology never seems to work out as planned. One day you got a functional Windows 7 that does everything you tell it to do, but then you upgrade to Windows 8, a program so obsessed with trying to be hip and edgy that it comes across as half functional. It thinks that removing things that have been there from the beginning, like the start bar, is a good idea because they're old and outdated. And when you upgrade an exoskin, it starts to take control of your life. You're not, and tries to eat things that you don't want to do.
I suggest you save the flattery for the judge.
Eventually, it starts talking to you in a really creepy voice, giving some sort of mind control. The ways that this thing controls Jenny is just creepy. Not to mention, this episode has an ending that would make you really curious as to how a third Raggedy Android episode would go across. God only knows what problems they're gonna make for Windows 9. You know, there are a lot of things that you'd never think you'd see in a kid's show, like suicide, excessive animal abuse, or cannibalism. I'm not kidding. Well, how cannibalism is portrayed in this episode, cannibalism, is kind of vague. When Fergie, this thing there, wants to bring a chocolate bunny comb to a party, he decides that he wants it all to himself. So he disguises it as his cousin, Candace. Then during a dance scene, he ends up...
Oh, let's name the zones, the zones, the zones. Let's name the zones of the open sea.
Come on, Nemo.
Oh, you better stay with me.
Epipelagic, mesopelagic, bathyol, episcopelagic. All the rest are too deep for you and me to see. Huh, I wonder where my class has gone. Oh, there you are. Come aboard, explorers. All knowledge exploring is oh so lyrical when you think thoughts that are empirical.
Dad, you can go now.
Well, hello. Who is this?
I'm Nemo.
Well, Nemo, all new explorers must answer a science question.
Doing that, romance must run very well in his family.
Intervention!
Just a bite! You have to get him, mate! Fish are friends, not food!
Food! Going for cow!
I'm having fish tonight! Remember the steps, mate!
That eats her. Okay, so there really isn't any cannibalism, I think, since people put chocolate inside piñatas.
Oh no!
Quick, to the top of Mount Wanahakamugi!
Why are you sleeping?
Hurry! Whoa! Bring up fire!
But the authorities dress Fergie up as Hannibal Lecter and put him on trial for cannibalism. Just the fact that someone put the concept of cannibalism in a kid's show and went so far as to put him on trial for it, that's kind of disturbing. Not to mention that he actually thinks that being selfish is worse than being convicted of cannibalism. I don't see why not, since cannibals are apparently shot to the moon that's loaded with candy. Seriously, what the fuck? Wait, series finale? What?
You
The rats with wings!
Bloke's been looking for his boy Nemo.
Nemo?
He was taken off the reef by divers, and this...
They're taking your head!
Fight!
Hey, say that again. You just said something about Nemo. What was it?
Mine?
Believe it or not, there are actually many shows that went through seasonal rot besides The Simpsons, Family Guy, and SpongeBob. One that comes to mind is Dexter's Lab. After it was arbitrarily extended past its prime, it was given a new art style that fell right into the uncanny valley. On top of that, the types of episodes got interesting. In the episode Jeepers Creepers, Where is Peepers, an anime-style villain kidnaps a dog creature, and for most of the episode turns him inside out in a horrifying, grotesque way.
My mug? Sid!
What?
Go! Before you break something else!
First, it's not so bad, but his agony just goes on and on.
If he pierced the barrier and escaped, there'd be no stopping him.
Maybe the earthquakes are magic caused by a recipe.
Exactly. Without the force field, that earthquake would affect the entire world. You guys better get to the bottom of this.
It's a horribly unpleasant thing to watch. The worst part of the episode is that it has him there suffering in agony and doesn't even seem to concern itself about him, because he's just there in the background while the episode is happening. And yes, his screams of pain are quite audible, and then he turns into a giant fleshy dragon. Yeah, that happens.
You won't win this!
Try me!
Good, but not good enough!
Let's see how you do without your staff.
Along with the angry sun from Super Mario Bros. 3, the Sapphire Dragon was one of the biggest monsters of my childhood. What can I really say about this thing? It has flame breath that turns people into lifeless sapphire statues, and the concept of being petrified is always horrifying. On top of that, this thing has aspirations.
The Sapphire Dragon!
My leg!